Great. Can everyone hear me? Cool. Well, welcome everyone to the CSS-ential guide to Chrome DevTools. I'm about to show you some serious CSS debugging tips and tricks to make your debugging life even better and make you love CSS, because writing CSS can be actually quite fun. But let me start with a quick story. I'm a front-end developer, and one of my fellow developers came to me with a serious CSS problem, and it looked he was about to throw a laptop out of the window. And you know that aha moment? Well, that's what I had when I saw her opening up Safari. Some of you may know that debugging CSS in Safari is like trying to assemble IKEA furniture without the instructions. It's technically possible, but you're bound to be left over with a lot of leftover screws and frustration. So this gives me to the point of why I'm here today. Imagine being able to debug your CSS faster than your fellow developers, not because you're smarter, but because you have the right tools. So that's why I'm here today in this 10-minute lightning session to give you the 6 best tips and tricks on how to debug CSS and Chrome DevTools to make your debugging life faster and, yeah, more fun. A little about me. I'm Rebecca. I'm a full-stack developer, and I have a passion for anything to do with front-end developer. I work at Navarra, and I've been in the industry now for a couple of years. And I calculated that I have been working on debugging CSS for about 1,500 days now. In the meantime, I've encountered about 17 ways of vertically centering a div, none of which worked the first time. So I'm about to show you. I'm about to show you 6 tips and tricks of debugging CSS. And let me start off with the animations tab. And I'm going to do this with an example of the starting style, which is a relatively new CSS feature. And it allows you to define a starting style of a div that first appears in the DOM. So when it first appears from display none to block, for instance. In this case, I'm going to add a block which first appears to be orange and then transitions to blue. And this is super simple when adding the starting style. However, it's not that easy to debug this in Chrome, as we cannot view where the orange color is coming from. So in this case, we only can see that the background color is blue, but where's the orange color coming from? So that's where the animation tab comes in. When we go to more tools and hit animations, this is the place where we can view all the things that are happening on our screen. Here we can play all the animations back, we can view them, we can pause them, we can slow them down, and this makes it a great tool to debug all the moving things on our screen. And as you can see here, we can see the color changing, the background color changing from orange to blue. Secondly, why would we do this manually if we have AI assistant to do it for us? There is a new panel in Chrome DevTools, the AI Assistant, and it doesn't only give you general advice, but it also has context of the page, and it reads your DOM structure. So it's a great way to debug your CSS styles. And I have a small example of this, where my div is already centered horizontally, but I want to also vertically center it. So I asked the AI panel, hey, can you vertically center it for me? And it doesn't only give me advice on how to do it, but I can also click continue and it does it for me. So I know we've been seeing a lot of AI tools already, but this is a really nice one that it's just in the panel already and you don't have to use any other tools, so it's just built in. And you can just enable it by going to the settings. There's an AI innovations tab where you can hit the AI assistance toggle on. Third is view transitions. I am really fan of this new CSS property where we can just transition very easily between pages. So for multi-page applications, this is a real game changer. As you can see here, I'm transitioning between pages as my route changes from one to the another. And however, it's kind of glitchy, so we want to debug this. And Vue transitions work with pseudo elements. As you can see here, I'm inspecting the Vue transition, and it works as it shows the old and the new state next to each other, where it transitions to. And some of you may know that debugging pseudo elements is not the easiest. It's quite hard as they just appear randomly, and so we have a life hack for this. Some of you may have never clicked on this eye before in the console, but this is to add a live expression. So we can add a live expression here to check, track what's going on live in our screen. So here I'm adding a live expression to track the width of the pseudo element, and this allows me to debug the styles while transitioning. And actually, you can do this with all kinds of stuff. This is just the width, but you can track all properties, and you can go really wild on this. Talking about properties, there's a new CSS rule, the property, which is baseline last year, so it's supported on all browsers, so we can start using it right away, which is really exciting. It's a real powerhouse for CSS maintainability. And this is the structure. I have an example here of a property called u, which has a syntax of a number and an initial value of 0. However, there's a problem that most editors won't give you an error or a warning if you have filled in a wrong number or a string in this case. But Chrome does this for us. I have an example here of a colored box with a background color red, which is defined by the U. And if I change this, when I hover over the box, it changes to 200, which results in a background color of, blue in this case. And I'm going to debug this. But I'm not going to do this in my Elements tab, as I did earlier, but I'm going to use a new trick with overriding the content. I use this trick I think every day with HTTP requests, but you can also really use it for CSS styles. And why do I use this? This is great if you have more than 3 changes and you want to keep your changes in your file system. So whenever you reload your browser, it stays there, which is great for making multiple changes in one go. So when I hit Override Content, I'm going to go to the Sources tab, and there it opens my CSS file. I can change my CSS now to a value that is wrong, in this case, which is a string, and Chrome is going to tell me, hey, this is invalid, it has to be a number. So the property rule is a real game changer here. When I go back and change it to a valid number, 130, when I reload this, it's saved in my file system. So this is a great way of making multiple changes and saving it. Talking about tracking changes, there are other ways of doing this, and this is a feature that I always use, actually. There is a new setting, also in the experiments. It's the Sync CSS Changes in the Styles tab. And this allows you to check all the changes that you're making while developing in Chrome. It highlights them green, and then when you're done, you can also copy all your CSS changes in one go. And if you like this, there's another tab. This is not new. This has been here for a while now, but there is a Changes tab in More Tools, and this allows you to track and see all the changes that you've made in one go. And lastly, the CSS Overview tab. If you have some time left and you just want to check your page on improvements, this is a great way of capturing the overview, identifying potential CSS improvements. In this case, we can track the summary, we can check all the colors, the font infos, if your fonts are accessible, for example, unused declarations, styles, and all the media queries. So if you have some time left and you want to just make some small improvements to your website, this is also a real good one. So what have we been looking at? The Animations tab to track all the animations and debug them, slow them down and play them back. AI assistance on how to vertically center a div for us. Adding live expressions to debug all the live things that are happening on our screen. overriding content to debug all our CSS styles and keeping them in our file system, and tracking changes and copying them, and lastly, the CSS Overview tab. Well, thank you all for listening for this lightning session. By the way, this is the new CSS logo in Rebecca Purple. Thank you all for listening, and if this was your last session, have a great evening, and I hope to see you next year in DevWorld. Thank you.